News Radio.
Those we lost live on in us, in the families who love them still, in the friends who remember them always, and in a nation that will honor them now and forever.
President Obama earlier today at a moving ceremony dedicating the National September 11th Memorial and Museum in Lower Manhattan. Survivors, victims' relatives, rescue workers, and dignitaries among those who paid tribute to those who lost their lives nearly 13 years ago. The museum officially opens to the public next week. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Shannon Bream in for Megyn Kelly. This is The Kelly File.
Coming up next, it's the O'Reilly Factor, right after a news update from Fox News Radio on FoxNewsTalk.com.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
There's black smoke in the sky
from a California wildfire that torched that man's home around San Diego.
The fire department came to the door and said you have to evacuate immediately. There's a life-threatening situation here.
Now, one person has died. A charred body found in a train in Carlsbad. At least 8 houses and an 18-story condo complex have burned down. Thousands of people remain evacuated. The U.S. is reassuring Israel that we will help protect it from a nuclear threat. Fox News Radio's Kimberly Adams has more live.
Speaking in Jerusalem, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel tried to tamp down Israeli fears about ongoing nuclear talks with Iran.
The United States' continued commitment to ensuring Iran does not get a nuclear weapon.
He went on to say that America will do what we must to live up to that pledge. Hagel made the comments as nuclear negotiators continue meeting in Vienna, trying to finalize a deal to limit Iran's nuclear program. Dave?
Kimberly citing security concerns, Nigeria's president will not be going to the town where there were the kids kidnapped by terrorists a month ago. The town's still traumatized. The U.S. is helping in the search, trying to find those schoolgirls. Donald Sterling may take the NBA to court. The LA Clippers owner, banned for life, may battle the attempt to take away his team. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso has more live.
Sports Illustrated and ESPN among those reporting that Clippers owner Donald Sterling has sent a letter to the NBA telling the league he will not pay a $2.5 million fine and rejecting his lifetime ban. Sterling's letter also reportedly threatens to sue the NBA if his punishment for making racist remarks is not rescinded. The league is trying to force Sterling to sell the team that he's owned for 33 years. Sterling's estranged wife also vows to fight to keep her half of the team no matter what, Dave.
Jeff, the Clippers were eliminated from the NBA playoffs by the Thunder last night. The Pacers also advanced. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mornings at 9 East, 6 West. It's Kilmeade and Friends.
Could it be that the president wasn't in on the decision-making? That they had to go around the president? They couldn't get answers from the president? Could it be that Greg Hicks, who was on the ground warning everyone this is a terrorist attack, who was desperate to get anyone on the phone, Hillary Clinton was MIA, the president was in bed? You talk about an outrage for the 3 a.m. call. What about the 10 p.m. call? But will it resonate? Will it matter?
Kilmeade and Friends. Be a part of it live weekday mornings at 9 East, 6 West. Fox News Talk.
They always make their point and push the issue.
We have more outrage for you. You will not believe what happened.
Pounding the facts and weighing every side.
Do you think that Republicans want to get rid of Social Security?
Absolutely. I think they want to get rid of entitlement.
This is The Five. Powerful opinions and straight talk on the most important topics.
The economy is actually suffering.
We're playing word games here. It hurts the American people. It's wrong. Stop it. This topic is now over.
Get in on the conversation. Join The Five weeknights on Fox News Channel.
In November, we vote in midterm elections that Republicans hope can give them back control of the Senate.
Democrats have the edge on immigration, health care, job creation. Republicans have a clear advantage on handling the federal deficit.
Polling director Dana Blanton on a new Fox News poll.
Among voters who say they are very interested or highly interested in the midterm elections for the House, 46% say they would back the Republican candidate in their district versus 39% picking the Democrat Democrat. But when you include the preferences of less interested voters, the Democrats get the lead, 43 to 40%. The reason for the reversal is that a larger proportion of Republicans identify themselves as being interested compared to Democrats and independents. In Washington, Steve Taylor, Fox News Radio.
A Florida woman gets life in prison without parole, convicted of murdering her 2 kids, and she got emotional in court.
I know our children are in heaven.
Julie Schenecker claimed antidepressants made her insane. Prosecutors argued she killed her teenage children, thinking her husband wanted to leave her. A woman in Texas busted for trying to be a kid.
Police in Longview, Texas, arrested 34-year-old Charity Johnson, known at New Life Christian School as 15-year-old sophomore Charity Stevens. Police charged her with giving officers a phony ID when she was asked to leave the apartment she was sharing. As for why she assumed that identity, no one seems to know. Ron Flatter, Fox News Radio.
Spring isn't quite as beautiful at a college campus in Ohio this year after the company maintaining the lawns at the University of Findlay accidentally applied weed killer instead of fertilizer. So almost all of its grass has to be replaced. Findlay officials say it'll take weeks to resod and reseed some 54 acres. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
It brings tears to my eyes to know how women are working so hard and are getting paid less.
A big women pay controversy at the uber-liberal New York Times. The top editor is out, perhaps because her pay did not measure up. Laura Ingraham on that.
I think you're too sensitive, by the way, Ms. Walters. I just think you're too sensitive.
A Factor Cable exclusive, Barbara Walters leaving TV, and we have many questions for her.
You are the most successful woman journalist of all time. Did you ever think about why?
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Also tonight, you're not going to believe it, some school kids cannot sing the song YMCA because it may be racist.
Caution. You are about to enter the no spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Money, women, politics. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The New York Times has fired its top editor, Jill Abramson. She's out. And some say it's because she thought she wasn't paid the same wage as men in her position at the Times. The reporting comes from Ken Aletta, who works for the New Yorker magazine. A little history. The New York Times, a very liberal newspaper, and has bought into the war on women political pose. In April, it editorialized about the claim that American women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns, a claim we have debunked here. Anyway, the Times put forth, quote, it reflects overt discrimination as well as more nuanced gender-based factors like the fact that women are disproportionately concentrated in the lowest playing fields. And there is no doubt that the pay gap is real, unquote. Apparently, Jill Abramson hired a lawyer to investigate why she was not receiving the same compensation that men in her position received in the past. And if that's true, the Times could be in for legal trouble as well as having a PR nightmare on its hands. The newspaper denies Ms. Abramson was not paid fairly. This comes on the heels of the White House paying women 12% less than men, according to the American Enterprise Institute. That revelation embarrassed the president, who's pushing the equality deal. So, the two leading gender equality promoters, the Obama White House and the New York Times, both are now involved in pay controversies concerning women. To be fair, we don't know the truth of these situations, but that's the point. You can't make blanket pay comparisons unless you know all the factors of a person's employment, and that's impossible on a mass level. Now, I think this is karma. I think the phony war on women, the attempt to divide Americans along gender and race lines, is appalling. And now we are seeing those who promote that embarrassed. Talking Points will say once again, you will never, never have equality in a free marketplace. It's impossible. Talents vary, experience varies, circumstances are all different. Intelligent Americans know when they hear the word equality, it's being used to push a social agenda. In this case, liberal America wants women to believe they're not being treated fairly, so they'll vote for the Democratic Party. Same thing with income inequality. The left wants American workers to believe they're not getting their fair share, so they'll vote Democratic. If the majority of American voters buy into the inequality scenario, bad things are going to happen. What has made this country great and strong is free competition, a drive, an individual drive to succeed. Not a nanny state that seeks to level all playing fields. And that's the memo. Now for top story tonight, reaction, joining us from watching, Miss Laura Ingraham. So, even though they haven't been fair to me, I want to be fair to the New York Times, because that's the kind of guy I am. You believe in the pay issue angle of this story?
Yeah, Bill, I think that, look, again, you pointed out we don't know all the dynamics that went into place, you know, what managerial style. I don't know what went on at the New York Times, but I do know that when we raise those types of issues in trying to combat the equal pay mantra of theirs, you know, that women don't get paid the same amount of money, we say, well, maybe it's experience, maybe it's how much time they take off, other factors come into play. They never want to consider those, right? No. When we're saying, well, maybe you should look at this in a broader way. So now the New York Times is caught, and I wouldn't be surprised if Abramson, given what a bloody departure that was, she didn't even show up at the announcement, unlike with her male predecessor, Howie Raines. When he left, he had his wife there. It was a big farewell to the staff. This was really humiliating, and it was ugly, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if she sued.
I don't think she'll sue. I'll just tell you why she's so. Yeah. Because this is a negotiated package. That when a person leaves a position like that, they get a lot of money, they get a big check, but along with the check, they have to sign a paper. Number one, I'm not going to disparage you. Right. Number two, I'm not going to sue you. And then she walks away with a couple of $1 million.
Yeah, but what we know, Bill, is that, look, whether it's equal pay at the White House, we saw that wasn't taking place when the women staffers and the male staffers, they weren't getting equal pay, or global warming, you know, with all the global warming advocates, they're flying around in their private jets like Al Gore, or the people against school choice on the left. They send their kids to private schools like Sidwell Friends in Washington and other fancy schools around the country. So the public schools, whether they get choice or no choice, doesn't matter to them. So there's a lot of hypocrisy on the left on really important issues, and this is just kind of egg in the face for the New York Times.
I mean, if it turns out that somebody can do an investigation and find out that Miss Abramson was not paid as her predecessors, her male predecessors were, okay, because she was around a long time, this woman, all right, then the New York Times, that's going to be unbelievable.
Since 97. But I think the New Republic has an interesting piece today where they say, well, this is they say humiliating and really harsh how her departure was orchestrated at the Times. And they compared that to the way the previous executive editor, Raines, was let go. He had a chance to at least say goodbye, and it wasn't so utterly humiliating.
There's no doubt that this is bad blood. But to be fair, again, because I'm a fair man, this woman, hell on wheels. I mean,
well, wait a second, Bill. Aren't you for the ban bossy? You and Michelle are for banning bossy. We can't call her bossy. I'm not banning anything.
I'm just telling you, I know this woman, and I don't think you want to be going to Hawaii with her. But I could be wrong. I mean, she's pretty tough customer.
She wrote a nasty book about my former boss, Justice Thomas, many years ago.
Nasty is a kind of a good word. I got to get to this other thing. Yeah. This is unbelievable. And this is, again, on the women thing. All right, Andrea Mitchell, you know, she's your NBC News correspondent, okay? So she's got Senator Feinstein on her program on MSNBC. Nobody saw it because they don't get any ratings. No, and I mean that. Nobody saw it. Right. But Miss Mitchell is saying that the disappearing girls in Nigeria, all right, the 300 girls who are missing, kidnapped by this Muslim crew, all right, would probably be better off if they were boys. Roll the tape.
It really calls into question whether the men in charge of our government, frankly, would have been responding more quickly, despite Goodluck Jonathan, the president of Nigeria's opposition, whether they would have been responding more rapidly if it hadn't been schoolgirls, if it had been some other premise.
You mean if it had been schoolboys? No,
well, I don't think some other military, I guess some other cause.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Bill, 50 boys were burned to death. 3 or 4, I think 8 weeks earlier than the kidnapping in February. They're burned to death in their village, shut into buildings torched on fire. They were hit with those fire cannons, burned to death, okay? We didn't seem to care at all about those boys, and I don't think all these Hollywood people with their hashtag entreaties about these poor girls, I didn't hear any of them talk about all the Christian persecution, the killings of Catholic priests, the boys burning at all earlier this year. But now we're supposed to say, well, the only reason they didn't cover this because they're girls. They weren't covering any of this anti-Christian violence. For the most part, got very little coverage from the mainstream press.
But I don't think this. I think this is about Andrea Mitchell seeing a grievance, a gender grievance, in every story that comes down the pike. every story, there's a gender grievance. Last word.
It's a war on Christians. Actually, that's what's going on. It's a war on religious minorities who don't kowtow and bow down to the Islamic, desire for the global caliphate. They're being burned and tortured and forced to convert to Islam in the Middle East and in major parts of Africa. It's a story the media doesn't want to cover because they're worried about charges of Islamophobia. That's what's really going on. So I would hope that Andrea Mitchell hits that angle.
You would hope, but she won't. Laura Ingraham, everybody, and here are the results of our BillO'Reilly.com. Should the U.S. help Nigeria rescue the kidnapped girls? About 15,000 of you voted. 57% say yes. 43% no. Next on the rundown, PC Madness. Some school kids cannot sing the song YMCA because a parent believes there's a racist component to it. Later, Barbara Walters retiring from TV. We've got some questions for her, and the Factor is coming right back.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now, from the historical audio archives of Fox News Talk.
Baltimore Orioles shortstop Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man, broke the record for most consecutive games played. 2,131. The record had been held for 56 years before that by Lou Gehrig.
Well, I see myself as someone that was very lucky and had a good career, and I think that I'm pretty good. I mean, I don't put myself all the way down and not think that I've had a pretty significant career. I've enjoyed being in the presence of all the great players and this collection of players. I sat and talked to Henry Aaron a long time and really enjoyed talking to Kirk Gibson and Pete Rose. I just enjoy being in the environment. Maybe when I get older and you start to look back, you have a historical view of your career. But right now, I just see myself as a guy that was lucky enough to play baseball for a long time.
Stay tuned to hear more history as it unfolds before your ears. It's the audio archives of Fox News Talk. Alan Coles.
The free market could easily decide that the team can't function with him as owner. But on the other hand, let's face it, the NBA is not the government. You can't, as a caller astutely pointed out earlier tonight, you can't just claim First Amendment. My First Amendment, people will say to me when they get on the show that I'm infringing on their First Amendment rights. Only the government can take away your First Amendment rights.
Alan Coles. Be a part of it live. Weekdays at 6 p.m. East, 3 p.m. West.
Online at foxnewstalk.com.
If you need to lose 30 pounds or more, please listen carefully. Mayo Clinic research proves that carrying fat in your midsection raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, even cancer. If you need to lose at least 30 pounds, we're inviting you to participate in a limited release of a groundbreaking weight loss supplement called Final Trim. To participate in this risk-free trial and lose weight now, call this toll-free number in the next 5 minutes, 1-800-390-2121. Final Trim can mean the difference between a failed diet and a weight loss success story. Please lose weight with Final Trim responsibly and take no more than 2 capsules once a day. For your participation, you will be given a full-size supply to use absolutely risk-free. Participation is strictly limited. Only call if you need to lose weight for legitimate reasons. To lose weight now and participate in this risk-free trial of Final Trim, call toll-free 1-800-390-2121. Phone lines will be open for the next 5 minutes. 1-800-390-2121. 1-800-390-2121.
Impact segment tonight, more PC madness. Kids at the Bennett Elementary School in Fargo, North Dakota were supposed to sing the song YMCA by Village People as part of a talent show. But talent shows are never easy these days. One mother told the school YMCA was racist because one of the village people dresses as a Native American. So the school caved and canceled the song. Do you understand or react? James Carville is in Vegas this evening, and from Washington, Kate Obenshain. So, Kate, I remember watching you sing YMCA. I think you were opening for the Young Rascals, all right? And you didn't have a problem with it, did you?
You know, Bill, if you or anybody else hears me sing, you're going to be offended, I guarantee you. So this is political correctness, not run amok or madness. This is at its finest. This is the intent of political correctness. This sort of code set up by leftist academics where you can't offend certain groups. You can't offend people. I mean, it's not even logical.
This was a mom. And, you know, North Dakota got a lot of Indian reservations and stuff. And this mom doesn't like the village guy dressing as a Native American.
What about the biker dudes? I mean, they're defending bikers or the construction guy. This is ridiculous. These are first graders who were not allowed to perform in the talent show because one of them was dressed up as an Indian because it might possibly offend people.
I think the Indian costume is good, Carville. I like it. It's got dignity to it. It's got crafting to it.
It does.
Carville?
I might have lost. I just as one mother, I kind of lost his why the school board. I guess it just didn't want controversy. But I wouldn't even think about it. I mean, I go to a baseball game. They sing YMCA all the time at the Nationals game. Everybody kind of.
That started with the Yankees, by the way, Carville. The Yankees ground crew started that. By the way, I want everybody to know I went to high school with the motorcycle guy in the Village People. He went to Catholic high school. This guy, I think he was expelled. But anyway, so even Carville, even James Carville, Kate, all right. An uber leftist admits that this is insanity, but
I didn't say insanity. I just don't see it.
Oh, you know, it's not insanity. You just don't see it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I would say it seems right extreme to me. I don't know if I'll say it's insanity. I know what the woman's case is.
Look, the political correctness bill is not the mom complaining. It's the school's reaction immediately. So it's not accused. Yeah, so it's not accused of being insensitive or in any way racist. But then just last week, a guy is arrested because he complains about a sexually explicit book that his daughter's forced to read. That does not fall into the politically correct, protected class. You can't be a Christian, you can't be a white guy and be offended and have somebody respond to you. This is actually kind of a big problem. This is a
I'll give you another example
but
of
it's a broader
correctness.
problem.
But I want to tell Carville, if I were the school board chief in Fargo, North Dakota, you know what I would have done, Carville? I would have put another song into the talent show, Macho Man, and I would have had the first graders sing that. Right. All right, that's what they would have done the whole Village People album before I got through with that. Now, what Kate is bringing up is in Seattle, Washington, a group of teenagers was told they could not give Easter eggs out with candy unless they called the Easter eggs, quote, spring spheres. This is true, Carville, and it's your fault, Carville. It's you and your ilk have driven this political correctness madness. It's your fault.
Oh, come on, man. You know, look, some people catch fun. I'll give you one. I think the Redskin name is hideous. I think they ought to get rid of that.
Oh, yeah, that's a terrible thing.
But this I think this goes the other way.
You just made my point. It's your fault because this political correct madness is now seeped into everything. Let me give you another one, Kate. Here's the AP style book. This is for journalists, all right? For journalists supposed to follow the Associated Press. All right, they have removed the term illegal immigrant. Illegal immigrant does not exist anymore, according to the Associated Press. This is just crazy stuff.
Right. And if you have a concern with illegal immigration, you hate immigrants. It's all part of this political correctness, and it has seeped over beyond academia. Just ask Don Jones of the Miami Dolphins, who is now facing sensitivity training. Okay, that should worry us. They're trying to remanipulate his thoughts because he expressed a genuine opinion, and the world comes down on him because it's an opinion that is contrary
he just didn't
to
like
political
a public display, and now he has to go to an indoctrination camp outside of Ho Chi Minh City, I believe he's going. They're going to send him over to Vietnam.
That's my fault, too.
You know, but Carville, I want you to admit next week, Carville, right here, that you're at fault. It's you and your crew.
I accept responsibility for not the kids in the first grade in Fargo, North Dakota, not being able to sing YMCA.
Carville, Kate, thank you directly. I had a very profound moment in New York City today, the 9/11 Museum dedication. Later, Crowdhammer on whether a Republican can be the next president of the United States. Also, Barbara Walters versus me one last time. Those reports after these messages.
In-depth, insightful, intelligent. Get it all. Tune in 10 a.m. Eastern to Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News Channel. Every Sunday, Maria's sitting down with the biggest players in Washington and Wall Street, asking the tough questions. and bringing a new perspective on the nation's most pressing issues. Every Sunday, tune in 10 a.m. Eastern to Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News Channel. Don't miss it.
Tom Sullivan.
You know, I've heard President Obama say, yeah, I'm in favor of lower corporate tax rates. And I've heard the Republicans say that. You got the president, you got Republicans. It seems like low-hanging fruit. Why they don't go in and say, why don't we change the tax rates? It seems to be too simple. But for some reason, the pinheads that we have under the dome are not capable of figuring this thing out.
Tom Sullivan. Be a part of it live. Weekday afternoons at 3 East, noon West. Or get the podcast at TomSullivan.com. Get informed in the morning with Kilmeade and Friends.
It's unbelievable. If I'm Michael Sam, I stop talking about this. Just play football. Just play football now. And what you want to do is become a football player. And that's what Tim Tebow should do. Because I believe he'd be in the NFL somewhere, but he is such a rock star, he becomes bigger than the starter unless it's Peyton Manning or Eli Manning or Tom Brady.
Kilmeade and Friends. Be a part of it live weekday mornings at 9 East, 6 West. Or get the podcast at KilmeadeandFriends.com.
If you own a business, you know incorporating can be a smart way to protect yourself and your assets. So the question is, why haven't you incorporated your business yet?
My business? It's too small.
Wrong. No matter how small your business, you run the risk of losing all your personal assets, your car, your home, even your entire life savings if you're not incorporated.
Incorporating is very complicated.
Actually, incorporating is easy and fast. You can do it in just 10 minutes. Call now for your free guide from LLC.com. 1-800-943-5846.
I need a lawyer to incorporate. That's really expensive.
You don't need a lawyer, and we don't offer legal or financial advice. LLC.com is a service company whose only mission is helping people like you incorporate safely, easily, and quickly. Find out how simple it is to protect your family and personal assets by incorporating. Call now for your free guide. 1-800-943-5846. 1-800-943-5846. That's 1-800-943-5846.
White House Insider segment tonight. President Obama dedicating the 9/11 Museum here in New York City.
We look into the faces of nearly 3,000 innocent souls, men and women and children of every race, every creed, from every corner of the world. And we can touch their names and hear their voices.
And a personal note, where I live on Long Island, scores of men and women were killed at the World Trade Center. And their children are friends of my children, some of them. And I see them every day, and I know the profound effect that this terror attack took. In fact, I support a charity called Tuesday's Children out on Long Island, which helps these kids, some of whom have never gotten over this. So I appreciate the President coming today and joining us from the Washington's Fox News chief White House correspondent, Ed Henry. You know, I don't think there's any politics in this at all, Ed.
No, you're right. I mean, Bill, when you look at the museum, one of the most chilling parts of this is that they have voicemails that some people who were on the planes that they knew were likely to crash, they were being hijacked, the people didn't know whether they were going to live or not. And I heard one of the recordings from a man who left a recording for his wife. And it's just chilling because he was so methodical about saying, look, I think I'm going to die. I want you to know I love you. We all knew people who were lost on that day. And so, yeah, this is a rare occasion where the politics that goes on in this city was put aside for at least a moment, and you had Republicans like Chris Christie, you had Michael Bloomberg, you had Bill and Hillary Clinton, along with the Obamas, coming together for this important moment.
Rudy Giuliani. And when you come to New York City, everyone, I think you should go down there because what this does is personalize the attack. I didn't know, I just heard today, Geraldo on the radio told me about 367 New York City firefighters, I had forgotten that, were killed. They were battling the blaze and the buildings came down on them. 367. That's in a flash.
Well, you know,
go ahead.
I'm from Deer Park on Long Island, and there was one father who was going to that pile every day from Deer Park, New York, trying to find two sons. One, I believe, was a police officer, one a firefighter, and they were both lost, a Vigiano. So the toll on families is still searing.
So today we honor the victims, and the politicians did the right thing. By the way, 23 New York City police officers killed in that attack. All right, now. Now, Shinseki, the general who's in charge of the VA, I've been critical of him in the past. I don't believe he's up to this job. It's almost like Kathleen Sebelius, almost the same thing. VA is now involved in a huge scandal. Doctors turning against it, saying it's chaos. Veterans aren't getting what they deserve. Shinseki testified today in front of Congress. He's got to go, I think, and I think he will. What say you?
I think he's going to stay for a while, in part because of what you said with Sebelius, which is, look, Kathleen Sebelius, there were calls for her to resign for a long time. Democrats were frustrated with healthcare.gov, not just Republicans, but they kept her around. Why? Well, for the White House, politically, she was somebody who took the heat for the president. If you push Shinseki out now, the president's going to get a lot tougher questions than he's gotten so far on all this. And this ties back.
Well, look, the president, I said this about Hillary Clinton and Benghazi. The president of the United States doesn't run the VA. It's Shinseki's fault. Shinseki's in charge.
But at the end of the day, as commander-in-chief...
At the end of the day, that's $25 to Wounded Warriors, okay? There you go.
Right.
Look, Ed, look, you're the baseball manager, you're in last place, you don't hit, you don't pitch, you get fired. All right, that's what it is. So you say, not right away, but Shinseki's toast down the road, right?
Down the road, he's likely to go. The president is going to get some heat, though, I still maintain, because he's made big promises to veterans, and he's got to follow through on that. And so, yes, Shinseki likely to go. But let's remember, he's a war veteran, wounded veteran from Vietnam, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's stuck around so far. He has great respect among veterans.
Okay. Ed, thanks as always. Plenty more Heads the Fact moves along this evening. Crowdhammer on a possible Republican presidency in 2016. And Barbara Walters on why she's getting out of TV. But next, our Mad as Hell segment. He looks mad, doesn't he? We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Jason Alexander for the Will Rogers Institute.
Everyone thinks they know about asthma, but did you know that over 15 million people in our country suffer from the disease? Or that it causes more hospital visits, lost work days, and school absences than any other chronic illness? That its symptoms, shortness of breath, tightness in your chest, and a persistent cough or wheezing can be signs of real danger.
For your free booklet, visit wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575. And find us on Facebook and Twitter.
In this town, news changes in an instant. It's my job to be on top of it all. The players, the pundits, the power brokers, everyone's got a stake, an agenda. I'm here to cut through the talking points and get to the heart of the issue. Laws, policies, key decisions that impact our lives need accurate, timely reporting. That's fair and balanced. There's plenty of room for political opinion, but only one place for political news. Watch Special Report, weeknights on Fox News Channel.
Securing America.
Some of the choppers that carry the president are pushing 40 years old, so the Navy has awarded a $1.2 billion contract to Sikorsky for a new fleet of Marine One helicopters. Captain Dean Peters says it's based on the company's S-92 chopper.
It incorporates some of the knowledge that they gained from other military contracts that they've had in the past, but it's something that they developed on their own for the commercial market.
An earlier attempt to replace Marine One never got off the ground after billions of dollars of cost overruns. That effort sought to create an all-new chopper. This time the Navy went off the shelf.
One of the differences with this program is that the requirements are actually achievable.
The contract is for 6 Marine One helicopters, but that could be expanded to 17. The first one is expected to be in service by 2020. In Washington, Steve Taylor, Fox News Radio.
Wanting to lose weight but given up on dieting? Then you may be eligible for a free bottle of the Skinny 6 Super Supplement, a weight loss breakthrough available for the first time ever. So please listen carefully. Are you trying to lose more than 20 pounds? Are you 18 or over? Are you currently not dieting? If you answered yes to all of the above, congratulations. You qualify for a free bottle of the Skinny 6 Super Supplement. Be one of the first 100 callers when the phone lines open shortly. Unlike any diet supplement you've tried before, it combines the 6 most powerful, clinically proven weight loss ingredients into one miraculous super pill. But because the Skinny 6 Super Supplement is so powerful, this free bottle offer is only available to those not currently dieting. If you're 18 or over and wanting to lose over 20 pounds or more, find out how to claim your free bottle. Phone lines are open now. Call 1-800-460-9727. That's 1-800-460-9727. 1-800-460-9727.
Matters Health segment tonight, 5 feisty letters, and we appreciate all of you who are writing in. Here to help us out, Fox News anchor Heather Nauert. You see her on Fox and Friends beginning at, 2:30 in the morning? I mean, that show does
5
never...
and 6 a.m.
That never ends, that show. It goes like 18 hours of Fox and Friends. I mean,
you're up early.
I am. All right, so the first letter, Heather, comes from Karen Marshall, Bozeman, Montana. Really ticks me off when Waters, or any citizen, tries to talk to elected officials that we pay, and they refuse to talk to him. They work for us and our tax dollars pay them. So she's referring to Waters gunning down, verbally speaking, of course, Steve Israel and the guy in Mississippi last week, right?
Right, Congressman Steve Israel. You see him right there. He's also the head of the DCCC, which is the Democrats' main congressional campaign committee that intends to get more Democrats into office. So he had been asked on another network, do you think Republican colleagues are racist? And he said, no, of course not, but to a significant extent, the Republican base does have elements that are animated by racism.
Now, let me stop you there. So Waters accurately quoted him and denied saying it, and then ran in the elevator and would answer the question. Right. So I agree with, what was the letter's name here? Karen. I agree with you, Karen. These people have to be held accountable, and if they won't talk to us, then we'll send somebody to chase them around.
Well, and you've invited him on the show a couple times, and he's been too busy to do it.
He's my congressman. I know where he lives.
My congressman, too.
So I'm going, Heather and I are going to go over. We're going to go over.
Let's have a meeting.
Second letter from John Wendell, Somerset, Pennsylvania. I can't believe you wasted our time, O'Reilly, showing and discussing that video on the elevator. There's no news or redeeming qualities in that video. Nothing anyone needed to see. Stick to things that the folks need to see and hear. Talking about the Jay-Z's, what is his name? Solange, Beyonce thing. Now, the reason we showed this is we discussed how you can't steal videos from a hotel, and what happened to the person who did it.
So the guy got fired by the Standard Hotel, and New York is a state where you can fire somebody at will, meaning that they didn't have to have done anything.
But this guy had cause.
This guy had cause. So it seems, though, that perhaps the law hasn't caught up with technology here.
There's a lot of that.
And that's because the guy, it appears, and I'm just calling him a guy, could have been a woman, I don't know, but took his cell phone and took some video of the closed
security
video.
But they did fire the employee, but didn't release the employee's name yet, right?
Correct. $250,000 he reportedly got from TMZ. A lot of money.
Third missive, Bill Walsh, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. I applaud the NBA commissioner's decision regarding Donald Sterling. But it begs the question, what about Shaquille O'Neal? Several days after the decision, Mr. O'Neal was as insensitive towards a young child with a genetic disorder. His mocking of this young boy was a slap in the face to him and all people with disabilities. His apology was insincere and pathetic. So what did Shaq do?
Okay, so he put up a picture, he tweeted a picture of himself and a 23-year-old young man with a genetic disorder whose face was kind of crinkled in a way, and really sort of mocked him and made fun of him.
Why did he do that?
I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it. But he's come out since and he apologized.
Now, was
quickly.
his apology sincere in your opinion?
I think it seems sincere. People like Shaq. He's a gregarious guy. He seems to be a nice guy. He's a straight shooter.
Let's give Shaq the benefit of the doubt that he made a mistake and he apologized. I got to move.
But this did come out the day after Donald Sterling, so nothing's going to get attention on a news schedule right after the Donald Sterling story.
It's not at that level, but he shouldn't have done it. Next up, Paul Singlin in Naperville, Illinois. A man has held that toilet paper keeps getting more narrow. Not long ago, it averaged 5 inches. Over the last several years, it's shrunk. Is that true, Heather?
It is true.
Yes. It is.
It's called product shrinkage. And you probably see this with your Ritz crackers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it also happens with toilet paper.
Is that right?
Interesting. 20 years ago, toilet paper used to be 4 by 5 inches, 4.5 by 4.5 inches. Now it's 4.1 by 3.7.
Maybe people are getting more slender.
I don't think so. We're getting bigger, and it's also thinner.
And this is an important item for some people. And the final letter is Roy Winston Isle. Waterloo, Iowa. Please consider changing the word mad and replacing it with the correct word angry. Back in the 60s, a college English literature professor told the students in his class people often use the word mad when they mean angry. He explained people get angry and dogs get mad. Ray, I think you need to lighten up. Mad as hell is a colloquialism. What's a colloquialism?
It's basically a term of conversation.
That's right. Very good, Heather. Roy, it's a term of conversation. All right?
Like come hell or high water.
Okay. Do you want me to name the segment, With Whom Are You Angry? Heather, everybody, give her a hand. If you're mad as hell, we want to hear about it. Please write us. Mad as hell at foxnews.com. Mad as hell at foxnews.com. We come right back. Barbara Walters, she's getting out of TV, and we'll have one last interview with her. Straight ahead.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. He may not go quietly. Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling banned from the NBA and fined $2.5 million for taped and leaked racist comments has lawyers on the case.
Sports Illustrated and ESPN citing sources who say Sterling will not pay the hefty fine and that he's threatening to sue the NBA. The billionaire's team of attorneys and flurry of lawsuits and the fact that Sterling's estranged wife also vows to retain her half of the LA Clippers will likely slow down the NBA's plans to force Sterling out.
Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso. Oklahoma City knocked the Clippers out of the playoffs last night. New wildfire evacuation orders with others lifted in San Diego County, California.
I honestly thought my house was going to go. The flames were right next door.
He's in Escondido. At least 8 homes, a condo complex, and 2 businesses have burned. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Now, from the historical audio archives of Fox News Talk.
Mahalia Jackson, who died in 1972, is widely regarded as the first queen of gospel music. Although she was a heralded and much-loved performer, she lived a double life in racially divided America.
When I'm on the stage and on television and working with white people, they just hug me and love me and say I'm so wonderful and I'm so great. And then when I'm walking down the street like an ordinary citizen, they don't recognize me, and when I go into the department store in the South, I can't get a sandwich, I can't get a bottle of pop, I got to stand, I can't even get a cab, and I'm just the Mahalia Jackson that they got through saying how wonderful I am. I don't understand this. What makes people act like that?
Stay tuned to hear more history as it unfolds before your ears. It's the audio archives of Fox News Talk. Sometimes you just want a little more, whether it's to get your motor revving,
Fox in the Fast Lane. I'm Marjay Tashina.
to catch up on what pushes your buttons.
Here's what's going viral now on Facebook.
You can find it at foxnewsradio.com/podcast.
With all the latest news and views for America's shooting community, I'm Jessica Curtis.
If you've got the fever, we've got the cure.
House Call for Health, I'm Pam Wentworth.
That's foxnewsradio.com/podcast.
Wayne Brady for the Will Rogers Institute.
Hey folks, I've got something that will truly revolutionize your life. It's called exercise. It will get you from here to there, allow you to spend time with your family and meet new people, cut inches from your waistline, and improve the quality of your life. Even help improve your self-image. Sexy. So when you've got to choose between moving around or lying on the couch, choose exercise. You won't be sorry.
For your free booklet, visit WRInstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 14 years running.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In a personal story segment tonight, Barbara Walters. At age 84, she's retiring from television, giving up moderating The View and her ABC News specials. Now, I've known Ms. Walters for many years and have had many interesting conversations with her. I believe the one tonight will fit into that category as well. We spoke on Tuesday. Are you an introspective woman?
I do a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda. Could have done that, should have done that. I look back. I should not. There are people, especially men, I think, who do not look back. They just look forward. Do you? What do you do?
I don't know. I'm delirious most of the time. But here's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
You are the most successful woman television journalist of all time.
Oh.
Look, stop.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's beyond. It's not even close. All right. The most successful woman journalist of all time. Did you ever think about why? What made you be in the business for 50 years and succeed to that extent? What is it?
I never thought that it was going to happen. So it's not as if I had a plan.
But it did happen.
I had to work. That makes a difference. I couldn't stay home with mommy and daddy. I had to work so I could work my way up. I had to support my family for a while. That made a difference. And I don't know, what is it? Ambition sounds so bad.
You're
inspiration
ambitious.
Sounds better.
No. You're ambitious. I've known you for a long time, and you're very hardworking. So was it hard work? Was that what it is that puts you over the top?
Hard work helps. Hard work means weekends. Hard work means sometimes difficulties in your personal life.
Yeah, you sacrifice in your personal life to become professionally successful. Everybody knows that. You have to do that at this level. How much talent do you have? How much innate talent?
I would have said very little. But I'm sorry, I stepped on my skirt. Let's start it again. But I realize that I'm good with questions. I'm curious, and I'm a wonderful editor. Give me a piece of tape, give me a piece of film. I love to edit. It's like putting a puzzle together. So that helps when I prepare interviews. So do I have an enormous talent? No. Do I have some talent? Yeah.
You have courage, though, I think.
I have a great deal of courage in my professional life. I'm not afraid to go anywhere. I'm not afraid to interview anyone. I'm not afraid to ask questions, although I try to save the toughest for last. I mean, I asked Vladimir Putin if he ever killed anybody. Did you ever order anyone killed?
Yeah.
It was the last question.
Yeah, because you didn't want to get killed in the interview, so I understand. He was here, let's get out of here.
I didn't mind getting killed. It would have made a big story. I didn't want him to walk out.
Because I think you are courageous in the sense that you had to take a lot of flack in your career, and I know it bothered you personally because you're very sensitive. I think you're too sensitive, by the way, Ms. Walters. I just think you're too sensitive. I think that sometimes you internalize things that you shouldn't, and yeah, because I can see it sometimes on The View and in your interviewing. But you're tough. I mean, you're not some namby-pamby out there. But sometimes you take things the wrong way. However, you are, as I stated, the most successful female journalist ever.
I'm laughing because I want to thank him for the psychoanalysis.
Oh, that's okay. You'll get a bill after the program. I mean, I do that for a lot of people.
Therapy when you can talk. You
come on a factor once a week, you'll be fine. Okay. I can't believe you're 84 years old. I can't believe it.
I'm not sure I am.
You're 84.
So busy lying about my...
you're 84.
My age, my daughter's age, everybody's age.
And here's why I can't believe it, because your energy level is so high, all right? So tell me how your energy level is so high.
I don't know. It just is.
Come on.
How can I tell you? I don't take pills. I don't know. I'm healthy, and I think I'm sane.
Do you sleep a lot? Do you get a lot of sleep?
I love to sleep.
So how many hours of sleep?
It depends. I did Good Morning America the other day. I had 4 hours sleep.
All right, regular day.
8 hours.
All right, so you sleep on a regular basis. How about diet?
I really do feel that I'm on the analyst. Yes.
How about diet? Do you eat everything you want?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know special diet?
No.
Okay. So basically, you are lucky. You have DNA.
Yeah.
You have DNA.
I have good genes.
Right.
I used to see a commercial sometimes, and it showed a woman walking down a flight of stairs, and she said, "Hello, I'm 70 years old, and I have arthritis." And you've seen those ads, and I think, and I'm lucky because I never felt that way. I never looked that way. It's going to happen. Maybe it happened 5 minutes ago, but being in good health is a big part of it.
Now, we'll have part 2 of Ms. Walters tomorrow. Politics. We ask her about the war on women, and things get a little emotional. On deck, Crowdhammer on whether a Republican can be elected president in 2016. Right back.
You're in the Fox Light.
Grease goes live, and Broadway's big news. Several Hollywood A-listers scored Tony Award nominations. Neil Patrick Harris, Idina Menzel, and Bryan Cranston all earned nods for their work on The Great White Way. Hugh Jackman hosts the 68th Annual Tony Awards, airing live June 8th. And Grease is the word for Fox. The network announced plans for Grease Live, a 3-hour TV version of the classic musical, to air next year. The 1978 film starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John has made over $400 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing movie musical in history. In Hollywood, Adam Housley, Fox News.
The Fox Light.
Keep listening for more focus from the Fox Light on Fox News Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Vip Jaswal, and my guest on the show this Sunday will be one of America's top 20 evangelical pastors. We're going to be discussing the reason, the purpose, and the limitations of having God in our lives. I'm going to be asking questions no one has dared to ask, like, should we forgive God for the pain he gives us? Does God need Satan by his side? Does religion have all the answers? All this and so much more on the Vip Jaswal Report this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Fox Country.
I'm Kirsten McNary. Miranda Lambert's Platinum Tour kicks off July 10th in Fort Laramie, Ohio, wrapping up September 20th in Honolulu. Kelly Pickler telling Fox News Radio about the joys of songwriting with husband Kyle Jacobs.
I feel like no one knows me better. Like, even if I can't put into words what it is that I'm thinking or feeling, he has a way of pulling that out of me.
You can hear the rest of that interview on FoxNewsRadio.com. Taylor Swift's piano playing got her cast in hotly anticipated movie The Giver. After seeing Swift in concert, producer Nikki Silver thought she'd be a good fit for the role of Rosemary, who happens to play piano. And Dolly Parton's Blue Smoke is out now, Parton telling Fox about the album's Bon Jovi cover.
He's even on songs like Lay Your Hands on Me. We kind of added the bluegrass instruments and the harmonies.
That's Fox Country from Fox News Radio.
It's been tweeted about by Hollywood celebrities, featured in beauty magazines, hailed as the instant complexion perfector. Now, for a limited time, Vanish by Miracle Skin Transformer is offering its best deal ever at Ulta Beauty Stores. So you too can instantly vanish the look of imperfections for flawlessly beautiful skin. Allure magazine calls Vanish ideal for creases, large pores, and acne scars. Lucky magazine raves that it makes your skin look good now and in the long run. But this offer is only for a limited time, so hurry to your nearest Ulta store today.
Do you have dark circles and bags under your eyes but can't find a product that works? Then stay tuned. The next 30 seconds will change everything because Hydrolyze Intensive is clinically proven to visibly reduce the appearance of dark circles, wrinkles, and bags. And right now, we're looking for 100 callers in this area to try Hydrolyze risk-free. It's also available at Ulta, but to try it risk-free for 30 days, call 1-800-571-6965. Be one of the first 100 now. 1-800-571-6965.
Back in the book segment tonight, who will be the next president of the United States? Widely believed that Hillary Clinton will run on the Democratic side, but no one knows who the Republican candidate will be. However, some believe the GOP is so damaged, it cannot defeat Mrs. Clinton no matter who runs. Join us in Washington, Fox News political analyst Charles Krauthammer. But you dissent from that point of view, correct?
I do. I think it'll be, look, it's impossible to predict so far in advance. However, looking at it from more than 2 years away, I think the slight likelihood is that the Republicans will win. If I had to bet the House tonight, I'd put it on the GOP. But then again, I have a country house, so it's not as if I'd be sleeping in the streets.
Somewhere else to go.
I'd have somewhere to go.
All right, Fox News poll just out. The candidate you would vote for if congressional election were held today. 43% Democrat, 40% Republican. These are registered voters that Fox News asked. That seems to be not so much damage on the Democratic side.
I think the historic forces are on the side of the opposition. You go back, and you know this, Bill, you go back to 1953, with a single exception. Every single time one party has held the White House for 2 terms, they get thrown out on their ear. The only exception, of course, is Reagan being given what's essentially a 3rd term with Bush because he was so successful. The country is already tired of Obama. The country is already in a semi-depressed mood. They're very high numbers for wrong track. They are not going to be in the mood to reelect a Democrat. And I think the Democrats grossly overestimate how popular Hillary is. She may be popular with some of them. She may be popular with a lot of them. But they assume it's going to apply to the country.
But
I think not.
She polls well, though. In the favorability poll, she polls well.
She hasn't been out in the field. She hasn't been challenged in debate. She's not an office holder right now, so she's not subject to slips. You go back over her record and you have somebody asking very simple, direct, and tough questions. Number 1, name a single achievement in your 4 years as Secretary of State. In fact, Bill, she was asked that herself at a forum about a month and a half ago in New York. Get the video of that.
No,
she stumbles around with no answer, and you know what she says in the end? It'll be said that I passed the baton. Now, I've never been to the Track and Field Hall of Fame, but I can assure you that there is not a single plaque that reads, he passed the baton.
But by the time she runs, she'll have, 7 or 8 achievements. I just want to point out in the Fox News poll that we cited, when the person was described as extremely or very interested in the election this year, 2014, the poll changes. Then it's 46% backing Republicans, 39% Democrats. So the motivated voter, as you pointed out, is probably going to go to the poll, and that will give the Republicans advantage this year. Looking out, though, we've had 2 candidates, presidential candidates, the last 2, Romney and McCain, who did not ask the tough questions, who did not challenge Barack Obama at all. I mean, Mitt Romney had a chance on the 3rd foreign policy debate to lay him out on Benghazi, and Romney didn't do anything, all right? Now, whether it was fear, I don't know, but in this election, other than Christie, who I think is shot at this point, I'm shocked that he hasn't made a comeback from this bridge thing, but he hasn't. All right? Other than Christie, the others are not really confrontational people.
Look, I'm not sure confrontation is what you need. I think you need somebody with a winning personality, somebody Americans are comfortable with, someone they won't reject on the basis of personality, like Romney, a vulture capitalist, or like McCain, perceived as either too old or too hawkish, or those kinds of things. Look, you were saying that those who are motivated to go out this year would preferentially support the GOP. So what does that tell you? In the two off-year elections, 2010 and coming up this year, where the election is essentially run on ideas and ideology, because there's no candidate at the top, we know what happened in 2010. That was a shellacking. Or as a friend of mine once said, that wasn't an election, that was a restraining order. And we think we know what's going to happen in this year. In other words, if you make the ideological case, if you argue the issues, you win if you're a conservative. That's what we have to find. Not somebody who's confrontational, somebody who can make the case and has an acceptable personality. That's not impossible to find.
Thank you, Charles, as always. Back to tip of the day. A cat saves a kid from a dog. Not going to believe this video. The tip, moments away.
So Justin, I was playing that video game Forest Brigade, and it was pretty cool. I was running down this digital path, and I met this digital frog, and he was all like, and then I went playing in this virtual stream where this water, it looked almost real. It was this whole electronic forest world. So what did you do?
Well, my parents took me to the forest, the real forest. Where I was running down this, well, it was an actual path. Then I saw this real live frog. It was all like ribbit, and I saw an owl too. Then I played in this amazing stream with water around my ankles, like wet water. Then me and my sister and my parents sat around a campfire and told cool stories all night long.
Oh, that's pretty cool, too.
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
According to the CDC, a stroke is the fourth leading cause of death in the U.S. It occurs when blood flow to part of the brain is blocked by a clot or burst blood vessel. Researchers say that stroke risk fell by 32% for every 200 grams per day of fruit people ate and 11% with every 200 grams of vegetables. Without emergency care, stroke can lead to brain damage or death. House Call for Health, I'm Kirsten McNary.
Factor tip today, a cat saves a kid from a dog who's biting him. In a moment. But first, we urge you to take Dad seriously this year. And that means thinking about a good gift for Father's Day. Top of the list, tickets to the Boulder Fresher shows in Minneapolis, Rapid City, South Dakota, and Fargo, North Dakota. Details on BillO'Reilly.com. If you're not close to those cities, though, you get Dad some very nifty Factor gear. Hats, shirts, mugs, jackets. Dad'll love our USA Strong line of gear. And then there are the signed books. You could personalize them for your father, and I will personally sign the greeting. But please get those orders in now. Also, please remember all the proceeds I get from BillO'Reilly.com are donated to worthy charities. Now, the mail. Shelley Howard, Cleveland, Ohio. Mr. O'Reilly, you cannot be exempt from white privilege simply because you grew up with limited means. As an African-American woman, I know. You are part of the circle of privilege and white supremacy because other Caucasians bestow favor on you. Well, few in the marketplace have bestowed favor on me, Miss Howard, because I'm an independent maverick and kind of obnoxious. I understand I will not convince you, but I do not believe you are granted favorable treatment in this country because you are white. You have to work for success. Maureen Claren, Flower Mound, Texas. Bill, almost every ethnic group faced prejudice. Irish need not apply signs are abundant during the early 20th century. Only a small group of wealthy people have privilege. Lisa St. Agathe, Brooklyn, New York. I agree not all whites are privileged. However, coming out of the womb white is a distinct advantage in life. Darrell Rathburn, Columbus, Ohio. African Americans have had 50 years of black privilege. It's called affirmative action. Jill Gilroy, Atlanta. Bill, as an airline pilot, I found your comments on flight delays biased. Lack of flight crews can be the fault of government regulations. I know that, Captain, but the airline companies have an obligation to provide crews to their flying passengers, not keep them around sitting for hours. If they can't make a flight work, don't put it on a schedule and take money on a false premise. Or you can hire more crews. Richard Pastor, Baltimore. Mr. O, you're such a brilliant newsman. Why do you keep company with Miller? When he comes on, I switch to CNN. So you're the one, Richard. Trish Harrington, Bonne Terre, Missouri. O'Reilly, next time, take me to Hawaii. I'm funnier than Miller. Della Davis, Lexington, Kentucky. Bill, I can't believe people are criticizing you for telling them about Hawaii. I can't go, but I'm happy for those who can. Beautiful sentiment. Della, you're a patriot. And finally, tonight, factor tip of the day. On Tuesday in Bakersfield, California, an amazing thing happened. 4-year-old boy, Jeremy, was attacked by a dog, but he was saved by his cat, Tara.
What did she do for you, huh?
She rescued me.
Indeed, that cat, Tara, rescued that 4-year-old boy, Jeremy. The whole thing on security video in front of the family's Bakersfield home. Jeremy is playing while mom off camera is watering. The other camera captures the dog, which we're told has never attacked before, go towards Jeremy. And then he just pounces on him. But here comes Tara, the cat. She literally chases that dog away.
But you can see her protect him. Like, she comes up, she comes back to him.
I remember her hitting the dog.